Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Who are these people?
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Don't be rude.
Welcome, everyone. Hope everybody had a great week. This is Pro Wrestling Talk. I know. I'm sorry about the last 2 weeks. The first one wasn't my fault. The second one was the first week because my internet went down and
I haven't seen that intro before.
yeah. Comcast didn't get around to fixing it until 11 o'clock at night, so no show. Then last week, my nephew's 18th birthday, so I forgot about that. So I couldn't do a show either because we went out. So it was like
next week we're gonna probably have to do it Sunday because I have to get pictures with my son and he is Cara Bunny.
Okay, well that works. Hey,
that might be March 30th instead of the 29th.
Okay, that'll work for me. I think Indy on Discord. I noticed that the alert or the bot there. I'm like, what is this? This is like a new one there. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing Monday Night Raw, where John Cena cut his first heel promo, and quite frankly, he sounded like a whiny little bitch, as Cody said.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that.
I noticed that too.
And
what time did they do it at an international crowd?
I think they made the right call having his first promo there in Belgium because that crowd reacted exactly the way WWE wanted them to react.
Oh my God! It was like, shut the fuck up. I was like, whoa, they're telling him to shut up.
The one thing that didn't make sense is that while he was talking, they chanted, nah, hey, goodbye. Like, that doesn't make sense. He's still talking. He's not leaving yet.
Well, he said something to the effect of, I'm retiring at the end of the year. So
yeah, well, it still doesn't make sense because he's still got a long ways to go.
Well, no, and honestly, yeah, I mean, I agree with Cody, and I think I told Angel this. I agree with Cody. What a whiny little bitch. You made me do this. I'm breaking up with you. I was like, I'm so glad we're not in a relationship.
As Edge would say, I didn't know my best friend would become a whining, crying, moaning little bitch.
Yeah. So yeah, I noticed that too. That you scheduled that one-on-one interview at 8:30. That's fine, I guess. Either you're gonna watch us live or watch that later, or watch that and watch us later. But we're here anyway, so we're gonna do this. Have a little bit of fun. We're also gonna quickly discuss the shit show that is AEW and Jon Moxley, with him being suplexed by Edge onto a 2x4 with
I thought it
Rusty
was
Nails.
Cope.
Whatever
Yeah,
his name
Cope.
is now. Yeah. So he got suplexed onto Rusty Nails. I hope that Moxley has.
Oh!
I hope Moxley has his tetanus shots current, because if not, then he's
Oh,
going
I'm sure he
to have an
does.
infection there. So yeah, that, and we'll also discuss the general build towards WrestleMania this year and how that's going, because I have some thoughts on that too. So we're gonna get started with John Cena's promo. We kind of got into it a little bit, but let's break that down more. They milked the hell out of that thing beginning of the show.
Well,
The package is there, and then
right.
it was like 10 seconds where they panned the crowd before Cena's music hit. And those are the loudest boos I've ever heard for John Cena. I was like, what the whoa.
Probably the loudest since One Night Stand.
And
I
it
was
was
thinking
like,
that.
you go
That's
John
exactly what I was thinking.
Cena, Cena sucks. Go John Cena, Cena sucks.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Alex. The first One Night Stand they did for ECW, what, in 2006?
No, not the first one. The second one.
Was it the second one? I thought it was the first one.
It was because the first one was a complete reunion. It was mainly the ECW wrestlers. This time, the next one was ECW.
Oh, okay, you're right. Yeah, it was the second one. So yeah, Cena that night defended the WWE Championship against RVD, and RVD beat him. And
with the help of Edge.
yeah, with Paul Heyman.
Huh?
Edge speared Cena through the table, and RVD hit his finish. And remember correctly, Paul Heyman counted the 3.
Yeah. And then, like a month later, Paul Heyman turned on RVD.
That wasn't supposed to happen. RVD was arrested for possession of marijuana, and they took both belts off of him. So that wasn't supposed to happen initially, but he been
RVD
belts.
dumbass.
Well, today marijuana possession pretty much legal, so it doesn't matter. But 20 years ago it was a big deal. So, but yeah, let's get back to John Cena. They booed him out of the building. He comes in. He has a face like this pouty little face, like then.
I've been in an abusive relationship. I was like, really? Wow, you should talk to your girlfriend about that.
He drops the mic twice, but then decides to talk.
Yeah, he's leaving the ring.
And they're literally saying, go away, Cena. Cena sucks. Let's go, Cena. Cena sucks. I thought that was cute.
Yeah, so Cena talks about his.
You sold out. I was like, yeah.
He talks about his abusive relationship with the fans,
and of course, Michael Cole being all butthurt about it.
That was after the promo, but then
I read a funny comment or reply in the WWE page. Michael Cole going off Cena, and they showed an image Regal going to kiss Mr. McMahon's ass, as Michael Cole kissing Cody Rhodes' ass or something.
Well, so yeah, and then Cena, what else? Then all of a sudden, then we had some chants from the fans like "fuck you, Cena," "fuck you, Cena."
Cena sucks.
Then we got to shut the fuck up a couple times.
And then he literally said, "Fuck them kids."
I was like, wow.
Yeah,
and then Belgium? And Belgium, they're speaking English? I'm like, they're speaking English.
Then there was also a chant in their language. I guess is Belgium. I don't know.
Or
wait. Jim Cornette looked this up. It's Dutch, German,
it's Dutch.
French. Yeah.
Okay, so we got a chant in Dutch there.
Belgium is a beautiful city.
Then
there literally was like this whiny little bitch that came out, and of course, he's just like, I gave, and all you did was take, and
what do we get? What do
you get? Nothing, because you earned nothing. I was like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. See, in fact, that part of the promo was clipped out, and somebody put it in a meme. For a child in Christmas. Like, What do you get? You deserve nothing, and that's it. They clipped out that part of the promo
I
for
saw
a
an X. They
meme.
also clipped the part where it's like management, and then you get nothing.
Yeah, that's the one I saw. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one
that's
I
the one
saw
I
too.
saw.
Yeah, the management one. It's like you deserve nothing.
Nothing,
It's like
and you get
I'm
nothing.
not a
nothing.
baby face. I'm not a
I'm not a
heel.
heel.
I'm a human being. And all I kept thinking was, I'm not an animal. I'm a human being. That's
It
all I
reminds
kept
me
thinking.
of
I'm like, damn.
Roman Reigns when he said, "I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy."
Oh, I'm the guy.
Yeah, that was when he first turned heel, and
No,
and
no, that was
was it?
2016 after he won the title against Triple H at WrestleMania.
Oh, see, I forget. I want to forget about that Roman Reigns because he was awful then.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like he's feeding off of the, how Flair would always say, to be the man, you got to beat the man, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of play on words there.
Yeah. So, and then eventually, after after he was a victim, he cut his little promo, and then finally the fans were like, "We want Cody." We want Cody. Want that chant, and then, "Oh, you want Cody, huh?" Well, he's your shiny new toy, right? The new guy. So it's like, you're gonna get rid of me anyways. So like, he's
No, you're
jealous of Cody
leaving.
too.
You are leaving.
Like he was jealous of Cody there. So, oh, you want Cody, huh?
Or
Well,
as they
he's your
would say,
shiny new
he's gonna
toy.
take this ball and go home.
And go home. And I kind of see
You-
this as a, not that it was good like Hogan's promo, but it was sort of like similar to Hogan's promo and what he did when he turned to the NWO. And it was like, oh, you fans, you are the ones, you're the one who made me do this. You suck. That it kind of reminded me of Hogan, only whinier and bitchier.
Yeah, Hogan Hogan was being booed in WCW for like 2 years. That's why, it's your fault why I had to do this. It's so it's like you suck,
But remember, it's John Cena. I know he knows this, but remember John Cena, who bought your merch, who who made sure that they got tickets so that we could see you live, went to Comic-Con so they could meet you and stuff. Yeah, it's the fans. We put you there.
What's funny?
You
We
got
saw your movies. We bought tickets to see your stupid movies.
I have a couple of Cena stories because when he was in his prime, I went to see him like 3 times. Because he was the main event on all 3 shows at that time. So there was this. It was a Raw taping here in Trenton where I lived. So at the time they would do Raw tapings here occasionally, and Cena and the main event was RVD and a couple guys in a triple threat match for a number one contender match against Cena.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
remember.
It was RVD versus Triple H versus Big Show.
You remember that? Wow. I mean, I was there in person that night. I don't even remember.
Yeah, for WrestleMania 22. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Cena had a match after the show aired against somebody for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
Of course, he won. I don't remember who. It might have been Randy Orton. But then after the match is over, Cena is throwing his bands into the audience, and eventually one landed like literally right next to me, and I'm like, what? Nobody's around. Everybody's left, and there was one dude, and he didn't care. Like he walked like, fuck it, I'm gonna pick it up. Oh my! You can like drain out his sweat. It was like. Eventually, I gave it to my mom's friend, who was a huge Cena fan.
The first time I saw John Cena at a live event, it was October 2016. It was at a Super Show where they had both Raw and SmackDown. Center. And it was the promo where we first saw Kevin. What's his name? Kevin Federline. Is that his name? Angel.
Yeah. Britney Spears' ex. Yeah.
And then John Cena came out and roasted Kevin Federline. He's like, and if it weren't for you, I'd be hanging out with Britney or whatever he says.
Yeah. So eventually, I gave it to my mom's friend, which is a huge Cena fan, and she passed away of lung cancer in 2016, right before Trump won. So I don't know what happened to that band. I mean, it was like a wristband, one of John Cena's wristbands.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's why I remember that story because I gave it to my mom's best friend, and she passed away now nearly 10 years ago. So
Mm. But at least she got
so
something to remember John Cena by, even though if she was a
yeah,
big Cena fan. Sorry guys, I'm not for John Cena. I've never been really for John Cena. I'm kind of like, okay, Cena.
We'll see if he does battle raps again.
Oh God, yeah,
I
about that.
don't think. I don't think he's gonna do that this time around. Maybe he'll pull out the old rapper gimmick and try to roast Cody Rhodes that way. But that first promo, he sounded like a whiny little bitch, and
Mhm.
it wasn't like what I expected. I thought he would be more like the rapper scene and roast the hell out of Cody, but he didn't. So he did that. It was like it was fine. It was fine for what it was, but I hope the promos get better in the build towards WrestleMania
Right.
because
And, go
Cena
ahead.
and Cody are going to have another confrontation on Raw Monday night. So or
Oh,
Monday
really?
after, yeah. So they're both in the same building again. That's how they're promoting it. So I'm assuming they're going to have another promo
One of the Rock's been
confrontation.
involved.
No, that Jim Cornette, and I agree with him. They didn't have to bring up The Rock. I mean,
No, they
The
didn't bring
Rock
him up. Yeah.
is like, second nature, or he's like a second fiddle right now. Right now, it's Cena and why he turned
That's
after
the
so
main.
long of being a baby face. And I agree with CM Punk. I love that CM Punk. Oh, well, you've been full of shit for years, and now we finally see that that you've been full of shit for years. Bullshit. He said bullshit, but
Yeah.
Is it true that a recent image showed that he grew his hair back? That he's no longer has a bald spot there.
Cena. I mean, I didn't see a bald spot.
I think that was either spray paint or it was good
Well, he had his
makeup.
hat on. He had his hat on.
I'm just talking about like a recent image. Like
yeah, that probably is good
I saw a
makeup.
video of him, and he didn't have the bald spot. So I don't know whether
Right.
that was spray on or he
Yeah,
did a
it
better
had to
job
be
of covering it
something.
up. Yeah.
Because they covered it up. That's because CM Punk went out there and said, "You're nothing but a bunch of bald frauds." And that was, to Cena,
it's just
but
so
also
funny.
to Rock.
Cena's a heel, while guys like Randy Orton, CM Punk, and a lot of others are face now. It's what a time.
Yeah. So that was reversed like 10 or 15 years ago. So that's why it's funny. Yeah. So, So yeah, that was the pony. Cody comes out eventually. The crowd goes nuts for Cody Rhodes, and I remember we were
They
sitting.
were singing his song.
I told my mom that Cody's the guy now. Cena, I mean, this is why Cena turned heel because Cody is, as he said last week, he's the captain. This is his ship now. The WWE is his ship, which is why I was concerned at last year's WrestleMania with if Cody doesn't get this belt, he's fucked. I mean, he's never going to be the top guy.
They might as well have just pushed his character right out of the WWE again.
Yeah, which is why he had to get that belt last year. Even though I'm a Roman Reigns fan, I got the new T-shirt, so. But
Braun Breaker, baby.
Yeah, we'll get to Braun Breaker in a minute. His WrestleMania plans, but
and I didn't.
Yeah,
that's the funny part. I didn't even like Rick Steiner, and that's his dad. Wasn't much for Rick Steiner, but I mean. Braun Breaker's just growing on me, and so is CM Punk. I was just like, when I heard CM Punk's shoot interview on The Rock and also Cena, boy, holy shit! I'm like,
also Naomi did it for The Rock.
Naomi did it for The Rock. Oh,
yeah, because he turned on Jade
such
Cargill.
a bitch fest. I was like, Jesus Christ! Why don't you just go into a room and fuck each other and get it over with? I mean, come on.
I didn't like that.
It was like Days of Our Lives for fucking wrestling.
It was like soap opera-ish, and it's like, I mean,
I did it for you.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh.
And then after Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, after they say each other, Bianca was like, "It's all yours."
And again, Jade beat the crap out of her, but
on SmackDown, yeah.
Yeah, eventually Cody comes out. He cuts his promo. Cena tried to call him like, "Hey, look, kid." He's like, "Shut up!"
Yeah,
enough.
I'm not a kid.
I'm WWE champion. So
yeah.
it's like,
so it's not kid. It's hey, I'm WWE champion. Yeah.
Which is good because Cody stood up for himself. He didn't let Cena like run over him like a veteran, like
right,
most.
right.
And that's the exact opposite of what happened with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair on SmackDown. Did you see that promo?
Yeah.
You saw that? It was awful. Like Tiffany, like a little girl next to Charlotte. He let Charlotte run all over her.
Well, they were talking about that match Charlotte had with DFAB.
Yeah, that girl. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, even Jim Cornette, who, excuse me, is a big Charlotte Flair fan, literally was like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck this was, and I don't think Charlotte should have done it. I don't think she should have been in that match.
My question is, why did Charlotte Flair fuck up her face?
Because she's like her dad.
She obviously had some sort of surgery done on her face.
She wanted to look like her dad, and this. I mean,
yeah. Even what's funny is my mom would love Charlotte Flair, but she was like, she looks like a man. Like, why would she mess up with her face like that? Like,
she wants to look like her dad.
I wonder what David Flair would think of that.
Oh God, I hated David Flair and that stupid Daphne bitch. Ah! Well, if I want someone to scream at ringside, I'll ask for it. I was like, shut up, you stupid fucking cunt.
Well, if you hate screaming ladies, you should have seen how Melina screamed at ringside with that.
Well, I did. I didn't like that.
That's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that promo just basically showed me that Tiffany Stratton isn't ready for that main event, for that women's title, because she looked like a child next to Charlotte, and it's like every time Charlotte told her to shut up, she shut up. She tried to interject, but Charlotte again slapped her aside, like, "Look, you listen to the Queen, little girl, and I'm gonna win this belt." And like, she needs to win this belt because.
But then fans are gonna be really pissed if Charlotte wins yet again. So.
Oh, I mean, at this point, it's like she needs to get this fucking belt because Tiffany's not ready for it. I mean, she's like a little girl there. Unlike Cody, who immediately snapped back on Cena, like no, it's not kid, it's WWE champion.
Right. But the thing is with Tiffany Stratton, no offense to Tiffany Stratton or anything, but she's not second generation. Cody and Charlotte Flair are second generation wrestlers. So they know the business in and out. Like I said, Charlotte wrestles a lot like her dad. Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen her wrestle a couple times and it's like, wow, that's so Flair. The only thing is she doesn't do that flip up and then he falls off the apron like Flair used to do.
No, that would be silly for her to do.
I was like,
but
why does he?
Or something her dad did.
And then falls down on his face.
Right, he falls down. Oh yeah, he oversells it and goes, "Don't."
Yeah.
I'm like,
that match with B-Fab was was awful, but that was B-Fab's fault. I mean, she's like a rookie.
Right.
It's like it's tough for any veteran to work with her.
Well, and that's what Jim Cornette was saying. Like, whatever this never should have happened. Whoever wrote this in just totally dropped the ball. He didn't like any of Charlotte Flair trying to compensate. He didn't like that, and he loved Charlotte Flair. He used to like Ric Flair, but of course,
he loved Ric Flair.
Burned every bridge he had. So
because Rick brought him into the creative team WCW, so it was like he always had a soft spot for Ric Flair. So no matter what a terrible person he might have been, but
you know who else he had a soft spot for? And I'm not kidding. Well, Dusty Rhodes, but he also had one for Rick Rude because him and Rick would always talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about Mr. Perfect?
I talked to Jim Cornette about Kurt, and he said they knew each other, but they were kind of like two ships in the night, and he wishes that he could have talked to Kurt longer, or had actually hung out with him and Rick Rude more, but they were kind of like two ships in the night. You know?
Their careers never really crossed paths. I mean, when Cornette was in WWF, they both were in WWF, but they were kind of like. But
they were Kurt was a babyface, but he didn't stay in. Like he came in because Jim would say they had Yokozuna with Saito. No, Mr. Fuji.
Mr. Fuji, yeah.
Mr. Fuji, and Fuji couldn't talk anymore. Apparently, he lost his edge for promo.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette in to do the promos, and that's you know, they never had a Yokozuna Mr. Perfect fight, though I think they should have because Kurt would have been great for it. But then at the end of '93, Kurt had injuries, and then he also had some family issues that he had to take care of.
Cornette became like the American translator, they called him at the time, for Yokozuna. So he would cut the promos.
Like he knows Japanese.
Yeah.
He did work for them. I remember that.
Yeah. So they never really crossed paths, unfortunately. I'm sure Jim would have loved to hang out with Kurt and them, but
he said that when I sent a letter into like several years ago, and I have that. It's like one of the first second or third episode. Jim Cornette answers my email, and I actually put that on my show where he talks about Kurt, and he's like, I wish I could have spent more time with Kurt because he was just a great guy, really funny to be around. And Rick Rude too. So, you know, a lot of those guys that came from
Speaking of which, I just want to mention really quickly, George Foreman.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Foreman passed away
last night. Yeah, right after we finished up Angel in the afternoon, it was on X that he passed away. So yeah, rest in peace, George Foreman. Here's a drink for you.
R.I.P. man.
Yeah. So, anyways, Cody comes out. He calls.
But Jim Cornette said, "Sorry to interrupt, Angel," but Jim Cornette said this was so dusty right here. This was so dusty. This was a dusty promo. And then, of course, Jim Cornette goes into his awesome
dusty accent. Yeah.
That dusty impression. And I was like, shit, did Dusty just walk in the room? I can't do the Dusty impression, but he can. So,
it was a Dusty type promo. And eventually, after a while,
go find yourself, man. Go find yourself.
I want to wrestle John Cena at WrestleMania.
I want to wrestle John Cena,
not this whiny bitch.
Little bitch.
And Cena looked like he got owned. I mean, he got owned. Nobody, very few people owned Cena tonight.
After Cody left, all the attention was turned on Cena again.
And boo and a boo. And
yeah, no. Hey.
It was brilliant.
Goodbye.
It was an okay first promo from Cena, but I hope he drops the whiny
little
thing.
Bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and comes out more, more like that rapper gimmick that he had.
What now, huh? What now? What do you think now, huh?
I'm not saying he has to wear the chain and go back to that.
Chain and thugonomic stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of corny, but at least
he's going to bring a spinny thing back, whether it's a title or whatever it is.
No,
look, here's the thing. I like Cody Rhodes, and he had his year-long title run, but I think Cena needs to get this belt to Mania.
No, I just meant if he's going to bring.
No, I know, I understand that, but I'm just making the point. I think Cena needs this belt at WrestleMania, even if it's for a few months.
It's been like just about a year now since Cody's had the title, so
it's exactly a year, right? WrestleMania would be a full calendar year, pretty much. So,
and remember, the first night is my aunt's birthday, and then the second night of WrestleMania is on my birthday. So, yay me! But it's funny
go to WrestleMania.
That's right. Actually, I'll be having dinner, so I should be okay by then. But we're not going to have a show that week because, literally, it is my birthday.
We can't because WrestleMania is 2 nights, so we won't have any time to have a show.
Right.
But
that's right. WrestleMania has been at New Orleans.
It's expanded. It's expanded to 2 nights.
Yeah.
So let me get to the WrestleMania card. I mean, what's been announced so far? It's only 6 matches. Cody Rhodes and Cena for the WWE Championship.
And that'll be probably the second night.
That's a second night main event, most likely.
If it's the main match, then it has to be the second.
Yeah, that's the one they're building.
I mean, like Gunther and Jey Uso will probably be the night 1 main event.
Very unlikely. I'm guessing
the first
match
night.
It's going to be Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. That's the main event of night 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about the Jey Uso Gunther match until very recently. I started building towards it again. So I'm like, no, there's no way you can main event night 1 with that. It has to be. I know how over Jey Uso is, and the fans love him, but ultimately, I think it's got to be Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. So then CM Punk can say, "Hell, I main evented at WrestleMania." Even though
I know that's what I'm like. I'm hoping for. I want that, but I was where are they going to put Gunther and Jey Uso then?
In the middle of the card, or open the show.
I just wish CM Punk kept his this fire burns thing. You know, I'm honestly not a fan of cult of personality. So
I think it suits him though, and everyone was singing it in Italy yesterday.
Yeah.
of course. But I mean, I'm obviously more of a metal fan than Kill Switch Age. I like that.
Well, I like it. I like not John Cena. I like CM. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
Punk.
so
Punk is growing on me. I mean, he's literally like he's got that savage side to him, and he's really
Angel. Remember when you hated Punk in AEW?
I didn't watch AEW. I just kind of listened to Jim Cornette about it, and he loved Punk in AEW. He just didn't like AEW. And I can see why. Even Punk said it's like, working with a bunch of children.
Because Punk ultimately, I think he booked him. He did way too many matches with jabronis that weren't over. So he tried to get over Jack Perry. He tried to get over a bunch of these jabronis that he worked with. And I'm like, he needs to wrestle less. Like, less is more with Punk at this point in his career. He shouldn't be on the ring every week. So, but they put him in the ring every week pretty much. And I'm like, I mean, then he looked like a tired old man by the time he left AEW because he was sick of the place. So I don't blame him.
Has there been a match announced for WrestleMania that's a no disqualification or count out match yet or not?
Not yet, but I'm sure that's coming.
Is already that.
Triple threat matches are.
Yeah, so it would be Rollins, Punk, and
Rollins, Seth Rollins. That match is no disqualification.
That would be no disqualification, yes, because it's a three-way.
But one-on-one matches.
Yeah, no, not yet, but I'm sure that'll be announced too. The next match is Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. This pisses me off because it should have been.
It's going to be.
It should have been Rhea Ripley, right?
It should have been Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair.
Rhea Ripley
one-on-one. Instead, I think Triple H just realized, oh shit, I got nothing for Io Sky to do WrestleMania. Fuck it, put the belt on her randomly and make it a triple threat.
I don't know what that was. That was not good. Because I remember we were talking. Angel, we were talking about that, and I was like, "What the fuck did they just do that for?"
Because they had nothing for Io Sky to do.
That contract, she's got to be in the match too, right?
Yeah, so that's why I'm assuming it's a triple threat in WrestleMania.
Contract. She took it with her. She signed it. She's like, "Well, my name's on it, but it's not really your." You can't sign it because they've already signed it, right?
Yeah,
so I think they're going to.
They're going to stick her in.
The women are going to have for WrestleMania 20 with Triple H and the other wrestler.
Thank you, D-Mid Drawer 4. Sorry if I butcher your name, but WWE signed Craven Moorhead to a contract. Some are comparing him to Young Rock. I've heard the name. I don't know much about him at all, so. Comparing him to Rock, we'll see. I mean, I'm interested to see more from him in WWE, but
was he I've heard the name guy?
No, I think he might have been in the Indies. I don't. He never went to AEW, but yeah, but I'm sure he'll be a good signing, especially if WWE uses him right. But yeah, thank you for the comment. But yeah, the next match, Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens in a singles match.
Oh, I saw this on SmackDown, and I can't be with Randy Orton more. And I never liked Randy Orton, but damn, I'm just like, yes, kick his ass.
Are there any old wrestlers you do like, Steph? All I hear is I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like him.
The new generation, no. I liked Stone Cold. I liked Mr. Perfect. I like Rick Rude. But those were the older generation. I liked Savage. I did. I didn't like Hogan at all. So,
well, Terry blocked me on Twitter. I don't know why, because that was years ago, and I was I still
you
can't
say
get
it right, brother.
Hogan blocked me on Twitter, and I can't.
You saw my GIF, Steph on Hogan a couple days ago.
That's right. I don't like him. Terry is all about Terry. He never gave a fuck about anybody, not even
after what he did last week, or after what they did last week. I took a shot at my hero.
Well, they also he made kids cry because he packed up early and took his ball and went home. I mean, honestly, if your agent is that fucking stupid that you have to, get up in the middle of, these fans, they're the ones that made you.
Yeah.
They're the ones who
Honestly,
kill their kids and
Yeah,
make
that incident. Yeah.
honestly, looking back at Hogan, back in the '80s or when he was mainstream, I don't understand why he was so popular. Honestly, like his moves weren't really that special, and his finisher was a fucking leg drop. I mean,
leg drop. Yeah,
why was he so popular? Like I don't understand. I don't get it.
that would be a question for Vern Gagne. Because he's the one who literally took Hogan from nothing to something. And then, of course, Hogan fucked him.
Andre the Giant. Yes, someone else could have done
that. And you can thank Andre the Giant, too. Yeah. Andre's the one who told him in Japan, you need to go with Vince.
Yeah,
so he fucked over Vern Gagne for that.
Hulk, it was a cult of personality. Hulk has such a great personality that he can talk you into the arena. And
like
work
Dusty.
For anybody.
Dusty can talk you into the arena, even though Dusty didn't have a great body like Hogan. I'm not going to say that Hogan didn't have a great body or anything, but I mean, Dusty could talk you in, Hogan could talk you in. But the other part of that is everyone doesn't know this unless you actually do research like Angel and I. When Hogan first started in AWA, he was a heel. And people didn't want to boo him. They wanted to cheer him. So they turned him babyface and made him Hulk Hogan literally started that that Hulkamania thing all up. And then he took it to WWF. That's why Vince couldn't copyright it because Hogan had already had it in AWA.
Yeah.
I still thought it was funny what we saw a few months ago with Terry's first promo, how bad it was.
Oh my god! And people were booing, and that wasn't even like redneck South, in the South or anything. It was Los Angeles. These were Hogan's people.
Yeah.
At one point, before he became famous, when he debuted, I believe, we saw that footage, his interview, where there was Bobby the Brain and how he talked. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh no,
that was not good.
Yeah. No, I mean, he kind of stumbled his way through that promo.
And then when we saw him first wrestle or whatever, and he looked huge back then, and I'm like,
he was, and he absolutely was. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know he wasn't something until Vern Gagne made him something. Because he went to Greg Gagne. Greg Gagne does a shoot interview about this. He said, he found Hulk in the locker room crying because he's like, I'm nothing. I don't know what to do. I don't even know if I want to stay in this business because I'm nothing. He said, well, let me talk to my dad and we'll hook you up. We'll try to find something for you. And it was Greg Gagne that suggested to his dad that, they bring Hogan in. And then they started the heel thing. And then he also got the Rocky thing. So he did Rocky 3. And then that started going off.
Yeah, that was when he was working for Vince Sr. And he asked Vince Sr. to do Rocky 3. It's like, no, if you do it, I'm going to fire you. He did it anyways, and Vince Sr. fired him.
And that's when he was like, what do I do now? I don't know what to do. I don't know where my career's going. My career's not going anywhere. And that's when he, bitched to Greg Gagne, and Greg Gagne talked to Vern.
Anyway, once he became Hulkamania, started in AWA, and Vern wouldn't put the belt on him, and he got frustrated after like 3 matches with Bockwinkel. Every time the belt was taken from him, and
they would do the same thing to Kurt later.
Yeah, no, like Vern, I guess, was trying to build up until Hogan actually got it, So they would go crazy for it.
And Greg says this. He's like, Vern liked to keep things close to the chest. He didn't tell Hogan that he was going to put the belt on him finally, and Hogan ended up fucking him over anyway.
Yeah, I thought Hogan signed first, and then Vern told him, or Greg told him, but it was the other way around, I guess, or
it was. So this is great according to Greg Gagne, and like I said, you can look for the shoot interviews on titlematch.com on YouTube. Great interview. A lot of the great wrestlers. I'm still thinking to them. So what happened was they had already made this plan to make Hogan the champion in '84. And Hogan went off to Japan, didn't know anything about it. Must have talked to Andre the Giant, who told him, well, just sign with Vince. So he did, but there's only a certain time the AWA would get Andre the Giant. So they had Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan, and they were sold out everywhere. Minneapolis, St. Paul, all those surrounding cities. And literally what happened was Hogan sat at home, sent a telegram, but didn't sign it.
He sent a telegram from Tampa.
And Vern thought it was a gag from Eddie Gilbert.
Eddie Graham.
Yeah. Because they would rib each other all the time.
Yeah.
So he freaking threw it away in the trash can, right?
He's like, oh, that's Eddie ribbing me.
Yeah, just Eddie ribbing me, threw it in the trash can. And then, it was Christmas. So Christmas came up and no Hogan. So they called Hogan at home. And at home. And hey, Hawk, why aren't you here? He's like, didn't you get my telegram? Well, dude, we thought that was a rib. We thought Eddie Graham was ribbing us because it was from Florida.
I'm not coming back.
I'm not coming back. Well, can't you just do your obligations? Is what Greg said. Can't you just come and do your obligations?
No, brother.
By all means, you can go to Vince. We don't care. But finish your matches. We're all sold out here. And Hogan said, no, Vince is paying me more to stay home. So that's what happened according to Greg Gagne. I don't know. Hogan's never really talked about it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the truth. Because I don't see even Hogan talked about it. He's probably gonna lie about it and said, "Oh no, brother,"
or make stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what happened basically. And Vince Jr. loved this Hulk Hogan. So
but according to those documentaries we watched, literally Vince wanted Dusty.
Yeah,
Dusty was his first choice, not Hogan.
When I finally got Netflix, I watched the documentary. Finally, is like he wanted Dusty. I mean, it's like
he wanted Dusty.
That was the opposite of what I thought he would want, which is like the Hogan type, Yeah. So, like I guess I think
once he had Hogan, I think he fell in love with the Hogan big guys, big bodybuilder guys. Even though Hogan wasn't really a bodybuilder, he was more of a guy in a band, really.
Yeah.
Hogan, I mean, that's how he was sort of discovered. He was in a band.
Yeah.
That's when he started, and then he started the wrestling.
With Mr. McMahon's stand back video.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. But he was playing that for real because he really could play bass.
Yeah, so that's
when Triple H and Shawn Michaels make fun of Vince and Shane.
There was also a few years ago before that when Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit teamed up. It was 2001. They embarrassed Mr. McMahon with this stand back video as well.
Oh,
they replayed that. And
then Mr. McMahon is like, "That's not supposed to be played. It's a hidden in the room or whatever he said."
Yeah, it was kind of embarrassing. So, again, it's like, real quick before we get to the other things we got to talk about, they're going back to New Orleans for WrestleMania next year. It's like, really? It's like the third time in the last 10 years they're in New Orleans for the Superdome.
Yeah, it's
and then next year...
It's so glad to be back in the Silverdome.
The Silverdome.
Everybody was making fun of Hogan that night. Austin and Rock.
Yeah.
So... yeah, let's get to what else? Yeah, on SmackDown, they had the big
W stuff or what?
Yeah, we'll get to that, but on SmackDown you had CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns confrontation, which led to that triple threat eventually.
That was freaking awesome, I thought.
Yeah, it was.
Because at the beginning you had Roman Reigns come out, of course, right? So they're standing in the ring, and then Seth Rollins comes out looking like a freaking... He did look like Grimace. He did.
Yeah.
He really did. CM Punk said that.
Yeah, and like, here's the cat.
Stop dressing like a girl. You look stupid.
Yeah, he looks... yeah, he dresses like... I think Roman Reigns said this once. He dresses like he dresses from his wife's wardrobe, Becky Lynch.
Yeah, his wife's wardrobe. Did you pick that out from your wife's wardrobe?
Seth needs to burn it down.
That's right. He needs to burn those clothes because I mean, he really looked like an oven mitt. I'm gonna admit that he really did look like an oven mitt the other week.
Yeah, Punk eventually attacked Roman Reigns first, and Seth was kind of like, and then eventually they all fought each other,
and they're trying to break him apart.
Yeah,
but to be honest, eventually, I really like that though because they, what Punk was like. I love how Punk is like, you still owe me a favor. He's pointing at Paul Heyman now. Like, you still owe me a favor, and Paul goes, now? Like, right now?
Yeah, so apparently that favor is going to be cashed in at some point. maybe at WrestleMania, but yeah, I mean that was a great segment. Eventually sets up the triple threat match at WrestleMania, which is automatically no disqualification. So I'm sure we'll see plenty
Also,
of
just
weapons
want to bring
there.
up something else WWE related.
Yeah.
It's good to see WWE 2K25 doing something good now for the fans. You know, the intergender matches.
Yeah.
Even having blood for the female wrestlers and more backstage and all that stuff.
So that's fine in a video game, so I don't mind any of that. So that's good.
The last wrestling video game I played was Attitude, WWF Attitude.
When
that was what?
Yeah.
Back when I was a teenager.
So you never play. Wait, you didn't play any of the WWE SmackDown games? None.
No.
Oh, that's awesome. Those games are awesome. Yeah.
Like I said, the last wrestling video game I played was WWF Attitude.
Go download a PS2 emulator. And
no, they were awesome. They were great. Yeah.
If I could do that, I would have Kingdom Hearts as well, because that's like my favorite video game.
and go play Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain. Those are the two best wrestling games ever.
Another one I'd like to play is the Thunder.
Yeah.
Or it was like NWO versus WCW or something.
Hey, CBC. There you go. Thank you for checking in with us.
And thank you, CBC, for always commenting on my new videos. I really like that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was that match. And then we talked about Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany looks like a child next to her and just didn't do well in that promo. It was like
perhaps after this, sometime after this set, maybe I'll show you reviews of Here Comes the Pain or Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain, possibly.
Okay.
Likes.
I know, but those are great games. So, so let's see.
Did you see the Jaden Cargill, and of course they had
I saw that
Liv Morgan, and then of course Naomi came out there and attacked her. What's with the caution shit? I mean, what's with that?
Apparently that was
to Owen Hart.
Yeah, that was an Owen Hart ode to Owen Hart, I guess, because Owen Hart wore something similar. But yeah, I'm surprised they beat Jay Cargill with Liv Morgan. They beat her. I mean, right in the middle, 1, 2, 3. I know Naomi interfered, but I'm surprised they beat her. I mean, I'm fine with it because ultimately that heats up their feud for WrestleMania. But AEW didn't beat her once until the last match she had. So
but I wonder, they said, obviously, Naomi pushed Jade Cargill on that car. I wonder if somebody helped her do it, like how Triple H helped Rikishi.
It has to be.
Well, then who would that be? Liv Morgan, probably.
Or maybe
it would have to be
Raquel. Raquel, maybe.
I'm thinking it's Bianca. Bianca.
It could have been, it could have been Belair, because Jim Cornette said, I could see maybe if they turn Rhea Ripley. Well, this is what Brian Last said. Brian Last said, well, maybe they should turn Rhea Ripley heel. And then he's like, no, she's too much of a big baby face for that right now.
It wouldn't make sense if it happened to Bianca, because Bianca was in that match and then she saw it on a Titantron and she ran back to check. It wouldn't, and she lost the match or whatever. It wouldn't make sense,
Unless she manipulated Naomi to do it and to cover up for her.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be the only way that makes sense.
Timing when Bianca was in the match.
Oh, no, I know.
Yeah, and that was all recorded.
That's why I'm saying that she probably manipulated Naomi to do it for her.
And then they turn her heel against Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. But Rhea Ripley altogether is literally the biggest babyface. They are not going to turn her right now.
No way. Right now. Yeah.
No way.
So, which is why it shocked me when Io Sky won that belt. I'm like, the money match is Bianca and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Instead, it's like sticking a square peg in a round hole. It's not going to work.
What I don't understand is Bailey beat what's her name again? The Japanese wrestler. What's her name?
Io Sky at WrestleMania.
Last year. Last year. And is she even going to get a match at WrestleMania this year?
Bailey has she has won one match since the time she lost the belt. Since she lost the belt, she's won one match. She's had a lot of matches. I guess she's just, at this point, getting people over, other women over.
My guess,
why is she even there? I mean,
my guess is she's going to get a match eventually with Roxanne Perez. and she'll put over Roxanne
Yeah, they
Perez
want to
at this
start
point.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
think they've actually pushed Roxanne Perez up into the main roster now.
yeah, she's probably
So I don't think she's going to be on NXT much longer.
Speaking of
No.
NXT, I just don't like the way the Rock's daughter, I don't remember her name,
Ava.
how she
Ava.
announces the matches. It's so boring, not like the greatest general managers.
Which is why
I
they,
mean, which proves that she's not really a good fourth generation because she obviously never got anything from her dad.
which is why they gave up on her
She
as a
could learn
wrestler.
from the best, like Eric Bischoff and even Stephanie McMahon, how they would announce the matches. But it's like, okay, you're going to face each other in a Hell in a Cell match. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Because they gave up on her as a wrestler because she was just awful.
Apparently,
So
she
they-
can't announce matches either.
Yeah, so they can't fire her because her father's on the board. So it's
I
like,
can do it. I can do it. I may not be the best actor or whatever, but I can still
yeah.
easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, so she's the GM of NXT, even though they got William Regal there, who was excellent when in the original NXT GM. So, but yeah, they just stuck Ava there, and it's like, what? Okay.
I thought it was funny how William Regal would always announce Umanga instead of Umaga. It's Umanga.
Umanga.
So, yeah, we have a few more minutes. So, my God, is AEW is just awful. I mean, I can't believe just how brutal the show
I
is.
didn't even want to watch the part that I watched of Moxley going into those rusty nails. I was just like, why am I watching this? This is so fucking stupid. I mean, if you're willing to do that and hurt yourself for a company that's literally has worse ratings than WCW did before WCW went out. I mean, fine, whatever. But it's a good thing that WWE got rid of Jon Moxley because, ugh.
I mean, even though, as I said before, I would prefer AEW over WWE because of the old school stuff that I prefer. I understand why you guys don't like AEW. Like you and I, Angel, we were talking about how they were not selling the pile drivers, whoever.
Yeah.
They hardly sell anything on AEW, don't they? They just literally
they
just
don't.
Get right back up and like, that didn't hurt. What
Yeah,
the fuck?
they don't sell anything. And
That's
then
when I know,
it's everything. That drives me nuts.
Wrestling when it was WWE versus TNA wrestling. Ironically, it seems like WWE and TNA are all good with each other now.
They're working together now.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that even when the WWE and TNA feud was going on, I mean WWE wasn't doing it, but fans were. It like a lot of the TNA stuff, it looked like a stunt show. It wasn't wrestling. It was like, okay, it looks
that's
cool,
why I didn't like it.
That's
why I didn't like TNA because but AEW
I
is
stopped
so much
watching
worse.
TNA after Kurt left.
Yeah, so so Moxley takes a shot to the gut initially with those rusty nails, and then the Edge did a suplex on it right on the rusty nails, and it took him a while to get it off of him. So it was legitimately stuck into his back, and it took him a while to get him out. And I'm like,
where was his freaking wife? I would have said no. Don't do this.
Backstage, she works there as an interviewer. So
yeah, I know. Jim talks about her like Renee Moxley Good. That's how he says it.
Yeah, because
I kicked him in the nuts and said, "No, you're not going to do this stupid indie bullshit." Because that's what it was, indie bullshit.
Yeah, and of course, Edge lost. He didn't take a pinfall.
No,
he never does.
Cope. It's Cope.
Oh, Cope.
Yeah, I know.
Gotta call him by what his AEW name is.
Yeah, so of course he took a loss, but it wasn't by pinfall. He went to sleep again with that bulldog choke. Because again, Moxley thinks he's a jiu-jitsu badass, so he has to choke everybody out.
Like I said, getting rid of Dean Ambrose was the best thing for the WWE. I even saw a match between Joe Hennig and Dean Ambrose. I'm like, oh, Joe, I'm so sorry. Of course, he wasn't doing indie shit then when he was Dean Ambrose, but still, it's like, oh, God. Please, Joe, don't let him talk you into anything.
The one thing about Vince is there wasn't going to be any indie shit on his show. I mean, which is why he kept Dean Ambrose kind of controlled, and he was decent. I mean, he wasn't great, but he was decent in WWE. because Vince kept him under control. He had that match with Brock at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar like, yeah, I'm not doing any of that shit you want to do. So this is how this match actually gonna go. I'm gonna beat you up, I'm gonna suplex you, and I'm gonna pin you. And that's how the match went. Because he wasn't doing any of that indie shit in that match. Yeah, I'm not doing
No,
any
I
of that
wouldn't
shit,
either.
by the way.
I mean, I don't like Brock Lesnar either, but I didn't like a lot of the new generations. I barely like the old generations, and I only like Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, and Stone Cold. That was sort of the new generation for me. I like the NWO, but only when Kurt joined.
Apparently, Moxley wanted to do all his indie shit with Brock, and he came up, hey, I got this great match, and Brock's like, yeah, I'm not doing any of that shit. And of course, Vince sided with Brock, so it was like, yeah, you're gonna do what Brock wants. Do what Brock wants, pal.
Pal.
Yeah,
and
so
of course, everyone
happened.
was talking about, we were talking about this last night, but Vince McMahon showed up at a Knicks game, of course, all in green, like he was a fucking leprechaun.
Yep. He showed up at the Garden.
Yep.
And yeah, so Vince is twiddling his thumbs, like he doesn't know what to do with himself because he used to working his entire life. So apparently, he's hired a lot of his former staff at WWE, like the Kevin Dunns and the and Laurinaitis and all his former staff. Apparently, he's starting his wrestling company. He wants to start a wrestling company.
Yeah, so people are talking about that. Is that true or is that just a bullshit rumor?
Don't know, because apparently Vince had a meeting. He had a meeting with Fox and executives there about pitching this new wrestling company once.
Right.
And so he wants to get back to work. So it's even though he has the Janelle Grant lawsuit still pending, because Trump dropped the legal case against him. So when Trump became president, that all disappeared. So the criminal case, at least, the civil case.
That Trump was going to stick up for Vince because they're buddies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go again with rich people helping other rich people.
So,
like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they do release that Epstein file book and Vince's name is in it. I would not be shocked. Okay, I wouldn't be shocked.
What's your quote, Steph?
What? Do you want me to say it? One? Which one?
Your main
or both?
quote.
Okay, you'll own nothing, be happy, and eat some bugs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Vince had time to go to Jeffrey Epstein's island. He worked every day, pretty much. I mean, he might have made.
All I'm saying is, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because Vince worked. He's a workaholic. He was working every day. He worked 7 days a week for years.
I'm just saying.
What if Bernie was there too?
Oh God.
Come on.
Bernie wasn't like rich to go and be a part of that club. Vince's last vacation, he said, was 1983, right before, or 1984, 1980.
That's okay. Jeffrey Epstein was alive then.
He was like 84.
I'm just saying.
It was right before WrestleMania.
That's
right
when
before WrestleMania 1.
Came up with WrestleMania, right?
Yeah. At least as soon as documentary, he claimed that he came up with WrestleMania.
But then Jim Cornette said it was actually
it was Finkel.
It was Finkel. Howard Finkel that came up with the WrestleMania
because of Beatlemania. Yeah,
and you had
Beatlemania.
Beatlemania.
When they first came to the U.S. in like '64 or something. So yeah,
I'm a big Beatles fan, so yes, I do know that. Do you know the
so,
song that they came here with? Because they said just some Beatles trivia for you. The Beatles had seen a lot of the UK singers come over to America and not make it. So they said, well, when we have a #1 hit in America, then we will come over. Do you know what that was?
No.
I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Oh.
They went #1 in America, so the Beatles eventually
That's when they came, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's smart. I mean, but yeah, MJF is doing his usual bullshit. At first I loved it, but now it's like
I can't handle any of these guys. I don't like MJF or MK, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, it's bullshit what he's doing now. The same thing what he did 3 years ago.
Now? Did he injure his knee or whatever a long time ago?
Who?
Should have stayed that way.
MVP?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came back recently.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm asking, why does he have a cane now? Did he injure himself?
He injured his knee in WWE, and he kept the cane as like a pimp or something, I guess. But so yeah, MJF is doing his bullshit. Who cares?
I mean,
Will Ospreay,
he's almost like a whiny bitch too.
yeah, he's complaining. Will Ospreay and AR Fox had a terrible
Or
match.
as Jim Cornette calls him, ostrich.
Yeah, they had a terrible match where they sold nothing and jumped around like idiots.
Same
Let's
with
see.
Kenny Omega, or as Jim calls him, what does he call him?
Olivier.
He calls but something with finger bang.
Used to be Kenny from the
something McFinger bang.
McFinger. Kenny no, it's not Kenny. Something else. I forget right now.
But Angel, Kenny Omega used to be Kenny from the Spirit Squad, correct?
Oh no! Are you serious? What? Kenny Omega was in WWE.
He had a no. He's not Kenny from the Spirit Squad. That's just another Kenny. But Omega,
I don't remember Kenny Omega in WWE.
Omega signed with WWE.
It wasn't Omega in WWE. It was a character from the Spirit Squad.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for Sean Stasiak because they call him Meat.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So Omega was in WWE briefly. He was in developmental like a month before they fired him.
Is that right? Well, that's because
he thought he was like a wrestling artist, and they wanted him to wrestle like you were supposed to, and he wouldn't do it, so they fired him eventually.
OVD, right? Or OVW?
He might have been. Yeah, he's OVW. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he gave some sorry ass excuse. I had some kind of infection on my ankle or something, and Jim's like, if you just wanted to fucking leave, just fucking leave. You don't have to give me some dumbass story.
He's like, I didn't want you here anyways. So it's like,
I didn't want you fucking here anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get to the clips now.
All right, everybody go to Rumble, please. We'll see you over there. We're gonna watch some clips. So migrate over if you can. And YouTube guys, if we don't see you over on Rumble, we will see you next week. No, we will not see you next week. Yes, we'll see you Sunday. Sunday
it'll probably have to be Sunday.
Sunday at 7.
Yeah, Sunday at 7. All right, so let me shut down the YouTube stream. So, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that WrestleMania is going to be great because I don't know how you're going to top last year's. I mean, with the Cody double main event.
Well, now they have remember John Cena's heel now, and you have that. So I think they are going to do just fine. Especially with the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Punk. Punk has to be a part of it. He has to be a part of this WrestleMania.
Yeah, he is.